in your training, what does inclusivity look like?
As I was saying earlier, like it's figuring out people's learning practices, what's their learning style.
Mhm.
Um, Usually just asking questions and see where people are comfortable, if they need assistance. Um, yeah, just making sure everybody's comfortable in what they're doing. And like I say, if um, somebody has trouble with something, is making sure that we have somebody who can, whether myself or other people, that will assist them to the point where they're comfortable doing
Mhm.
their task or
Yeah.
their job.
Great. Thanks a lot. And it's really that sense of creating safety so that people can acknowledge when they're struggling and know that somebody's there to help them out. I appreciate that. Shauna, you're next. What does inclusivity look like in your training?
In my training, when I'm working with instructors, one of the things that we do is to ensure that instructors have the training they need to understand the different environments that our learners are coming from.
Mhm.
So whether they're coming from urban, remote, rural, indigenous, newcomer communities, so to have an understanding of the population that we're working with, and also to understand intersectionality and its impact on our students, and to understand the principles of trauma-informed learning. The other thing that we do to be inclusive is to think about different ways of evaluating learning, and to really focus on giving people opportunities to demonstrate their learning in ways that are congruent with their own learning style and learning methods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that idea of being able to demonstrate learning in ways other than taking a test is super important. I appreciate that. Also, you use the term intersectionality, and that really fits with your focus on context, doesn't it? That we have to recognize that people come to us with such a variety of identities, and that there are challenges and strengths associated with each of them. Thanks.
Yeah.
Trina.
Thanks. In our training, a lot of it goes back to incorporating our traditional teachings into the format and delivery. So to be inclusive, we recognize that everyone, as our elders know, everyone is born with a gift and has a gift of service in many different ways. So it's helping our practitioners be able to have that space to share their story, to discover their own gifts and how they may want to work with people, both their formal and informal work and learning experiences. And everything's important. And the last part I will say is that we set our training up to always mostly be in a circle so that everyone feels that sense of inclusion and knows that there's strength in the circle, and we're there to support one another on this journey of learning, whichever the topic or skills are. So that's how
I
we.
love that. Thank you. I love the incorporation of the traditional teachings and that sense that everyone has a gift, but also circles. And then maybe Annette could jump in. So what does
This is a hard
inclusivity
question
look
to
like
go
for
go last on. I think many of us are familiar with the phrase universal design, but I think if we think of that more like inclusive by design, it starts us off with a point that we learn from previous times that we've taught or that we've trained, and we implement what we can ongoing, not just once a year do a reflection, but ongoing, so that we can be more inclusive from design from the beginning. And as Heather mentioned, that's learning styles and all sorts. But I also think that as an instructor or facilitator trainer, just to naturally be curious and to be able to build trust quickly so that every learner feels they can express their specific need if what the current way that you're presenting or training or supporting isn't quite meeting their learning style or whatever that might be. But it really does come from a personal perspective of just having that open space for reflection for that individual to feel safe to come to you and say, I need my camera off. You keep asking for the cameras on, but
Yeah.
those small things make a huge difference.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, particularly since so much learning is on Zoom now. And, you know, I've worked with some people that are, you know, absolutely insistent that cameras be on all the time, and it just doesn't work for some people. And when I was teaching online during COVID, like university courses, every time I popped people into a breakout group, they popped on their cameras and were very engaged in those small groups. So clearly we're participating and following along, but they just couldn't have the camera on the whole time, and you know, weren't in a position to do that. So I think that we need to follow the lead of our learners.